Hi everyone and welcome back to the bench. I was recently trying to salvage a large number of 18650 cells that I came across from old laptop batteries, and one of the problems that I immediately faced is how do I determine the capacity of the battery that I extract as well as the internal resistance, because that directly affects the quality and whether that cell is usable or not. So I came across this. This is a 18650 battery charger, discharger, and tester all at one that I ordered myself, and in this video I'm gonna go over its functions, how it works, and how it helps me determine the quality of the batteries that I get. But before we dive into the details of the charger, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Altium Develop. If you build electronics, you know how complicated collaboration can get. Different tools, endless meetings, and version chaos that slows everyone down. Altium Develop changes that. It's a cloud platform built for real co-creation, bringing electrical, mechanical, software, and sourcing teams together in one shared space. Instead of jumping between disconnected tools, everyone works on the same data in real time. Designers can create schematics and PCBs, procurement teams can manage parts and pricing, and manufacturing can review designs before production, all in one place. Every change, comment, and decision stays in context, so no one's left guessing. You can track progress, manage requirements, and resolve issues before they become problems. No silos, no delays, just clear, connected teamwork that keeps projects moving fast, where it's easy to bring the right people into the process whenever you need them. If you're ready to move from working together to working as one, check out Altium Develop at the link in the video description. If we take a closer look at the tester, we can see that we have 4 positions for 18650 cells, and also we have 4 positions with terminals where we can connect the battery to it with some wires. Testing this with the multimeter, I could see that the negative terminal here is connected to the negative terminal there, so it's just a breakout if you want to take this externally. We have this central fan at the middle that has some high power resistors underneath. I'm gonna take this from the case later to see it down below. We have a screen where we're gonna have all the information. We have the function buttons here, and at the top we have 2 USB-C connectors that we provide power, and the reason why there are 2 is because each of them is rated at 5 volts and 3 amps. So we can have one of them for one side of the charger and another one for the other side. So you need to provide 2 separate power leads in order to work with this device. And at the bottom we have few LEDs that indicate the state at each of the cell positions. Now the good thing about this one is that all of the positions are independent, so you don't need to have all of them populated, but you can have just one or all of them and everything works independently. To power them up, you can provide power at any side, and that will turn on the screen that presents quite a lot of information. I'm gonna plug another lead from another charger on the other position just so we can also use those. And as soon as we add a cell to one of the positions, keep in mind on the polarity, it's clearly marked, so positive is on the bottom. We're gonna see its voltage and then the information for the rest of the channel. As we add new batteries, you'll see that this will switch to that position to tell you the last battery that you added. And I intentionally selected cells that are relatively different, that I've taken from different battery packs, so we can see that you can have multiple actions doing on them that are unrelated and individual. Going through the screen at the top right, you could see this is the channel or the position that we are in, and we can use the far right button to cycle in between each of the positions. So you have channel 1, channel 2, 3, and 4 appropriately. Then we have the mode that we are on each channel. Actually, not the mode, but the status, the mode that we are operating, and a certain information regarding each of the modes. On the left, we have the cell voltage, the cell current going in or out of that cell, the milliamp-hour reading, the milliwatt hour reading, the internal resistance of the battery. You can see this one is actually quite high. Let's compare it to the rest. So 279, 213, and 56 milliohms. The time of the current operation, and then if we go on the first button, we can change the setting that we are adjusting. First one is the mode, and we can switch in between the different modes on the second button. So we have auto. This will either charge or discharge the battery depending on what it decides and the current state of the voltage. We can set it to charging, we can set it to discharging, and again auto. If we go down, if for example we set this to discharging, here we can adjust the voltage of the stop when that battery should stop, and it can go from 2.5 up to 3.5 volts. So let's leave it discharging at 3. And if we have this in an auto mode, then we can tell it to loop a certain amount of time. So it can go from 1 to 9, and it will continue the same charging and discharging cycles for the set amount of times that we're gonna tell it to. And the third one is to actually start the process that we want to start. I'm gonna set this one to discharge. We are at cell 3, and I'm gonna start it to discharge. This will draw 1 amp continuously until the voltage hits the limit that we've set of 3 volts, and by doing so we're gonna determine what is the capacity of the cell connected. Now you can see that only the LED on channel 3 is blinking. That means that this channel is doing the set operation, and once it completes, it's gonna be just on at all times. Now if we go to channel 1, this one is already at 2.5 volts, so we can set the mode to charging here, and charging is always fixed at 4.2 volts, so there is no adjustment to that. But we can now turn it on, and we'll see that it's gonna start to ramp up the current as we go to 3 volts, and then it charges with starting about 1 amp and goes down as it goes up in charge. And sorry, this is for channel 4. You could see here on the LED. Let's switch this to channel 1. I'm gonna set this one to discharge as well and start it. And for channel 2, let's start with charging, for example, and start that. So we have 4 independent channels doing their own thing on the batteries, and this will greatly help me to be able to process a lot of cells quickly, and most importantly determine their charge and capacity levels. As we loop through the channels, you can see here at the status, the current status of the operation that's being run on the cell. Channel 1 is discharging, channel 2 is charging, and channel 3 and 4 are appropriately discharging and charging. And you could see that we are starting to get an accumulated milliamp-hour charge or discharge current that goes through the cells. But one thing to remember, if you want to properly test the capacity of a certain cell, then the best thing is to discharge it first, charge it fully all the way up, and then start the measuring cycle where you measure the capacity while discharging the battery, because that will give you the true capacity. Because of all the losses through charging, if you measure it during charging, then you're gonna be measuring some of the losses that happen through the circuit, so it won't be that precise as it is with measuring when discharging. Now I've disconnected everything because I want to show you the construction and the circuit of the whole device. On the bottom we have this plastic case, and I've seen versions where this is also a PCB with some standoffs. I'm gonna take out, there are 4 screws on the side, so we can take a look at the back side of the PCB. Okay, so screws are out, and this is the bottom plate that's injection molded and has 4 pillars for the screws. And this is the PCB. This is the front that you already seen, and here on the back you could see the high power resistor that are being used to discharge the battery, and the fan on top is actually cooling those. On the circuit I could see 4 identical parts with some controls for the batteries. There are some ground points there, and one thing that I try to understand at the moment, if I can do it or not, is whether I can power this from my bench power supply easily. But I don't think I see a way where I can connect my power directly. Let me explore that closer. Okay, so on the circuit there seems to be 2 test points where we have the ground exposed, and this one you can see that it's shared in between the 2 sides of the board. And on the front we have actually 2 test points for the 5 volts. So we have 5 volts 1 and 5 volts 2. So theoretically we can have some wires coming in from there that we're gonna tie together, and we can then power from our bench top power supply, because that can output 5 volts at more amps than 6, and we can have both of the sides powered from one power source instead of using 2 separate USB-C chargers. Now, unfortunately, even though that seems like a possibility, I'm not gonna do it right now because there is no easy way how I can mount a connector or have the wires sturdy enough, because I'm worried that if I just have the wires outside exposed, I'm gonna rip the pads out eventually. So at the time being, I'm not gonna do that modification. I'm gonna stick with the 2 separate USB-C leads, and maybe I'm gonna try and make a splitter where I connect 2 of these jacks together and then power them from my bench power supply. Now let's put this back together, and I'm gonna put 1 or more cells through the final cycle, and I'm gonna show you what happens when the cycle is at its end. And here I have the cells back. I have all of them running a certain program, and as you can see, channel 4 is always on with the LED, meaning that it reached its end of the cycle, and I had this on discharge. If you remember, this was the empty cell, so it was at 2.5 volts when we started, and we charged it a bit, but as soon as I started and draw some current from it, the tester decided that this one is done, and then you get the LED that's always on. If we cycle through all of the rest of the batteries, we can see that channel 1 here is in discharge, and it's currently at 3.4 volts. We've taken about 20 milliamps out of it. Channel 2 is again on discharge with a similar voltage and similar runtime. Channel 3 is currently charging at about 440 milliamps, and it's up to 4.14 volts. It's gonna charge up to 4.2, and it's also gonna stop as well. And channel 4 is at the end of its cycle. Now, because this one is fully empty, we can switch the mode to charging and start the cycle again. This one will now go up, and once that happens, we can start the discharge cycle again and figure out the capacity of the cell. And we can repeat this relatively quickly for a lot of cells. And since I bought 2, then we could do this much quicker as well. Now, before I close the video, one last thing that I want to try is to see how the charger will behave if I connect something like this. These are 2 cells that are connected in parallel to each other, and when I'm salvaging some of the battery packs from the laptops, you would often find a series of 3 cells that are so 3S2P, 2 cells in parallels, and 3 such parallel cells in series. This is the typical arrangement that I've seen in laptop batteries, but when I find a pair that kept its voltage, I keep them like this because this in theory doubles the capacity. Now let's see how the charger will behave where I enter this cell. So it got recognized at position 4, 3.83 volts. It seems to be working just well. Let's try this as well. So yeah, this one is at 2.64. Channel 3 is 3.84, and channel 4, sorry, that was channel 4. Channel 1 is empty, so that got recognized. 3 and 4 at 3.84. I'm gonna switch all of them to, I believe I'm gonna charge them up first. So let's change the mode to charging. This is on channel 4. I forgot to stop it, so let's go charge and start. So this one is stopped, it's on mode charge. We're gonna start that as well, and we're gonna also start the charging on channel 4. Now all of them are charging. Let's see how that goes, but I believe that this will just behave same as if we have just a single cell in it. As a matter of fact, I can add one here as well and set it to charge. Yeah, I'm mistaking the start stop button with the channel switch, but that's okay. Now, while this will work, the downside is that you're gonna be taking a bit more time to charge the pack because you're charging now 2 cells in parallel, and that will take a bit more time. However, this will provide you that when you get the capacity reading, you need to split it at 2, so you know that this is the total capacity for the pack and not just for the single cell. Otherwise, everything else should work basically exactly as for a single cell as we have it here. And with that, I'm gonna end the video right here. These are definitely very handy and very practical tools to have if you are a maker that works with battery related projects, because you can easily determine the state and the capacity of your cell. So if you want to combine them in larger packs, then you definitely need to know the capacity of each cell or each cell combination, so you can pair them together and have a pack that has a similar capacity and you use the whole pack in that project. I'm gonna ask you to like the video down below if you did like it. I'm gonna ask you to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. I have a Patreon link where you can provide some support for reviews and electronics project on the channel. YouTube thinks that you're gonna like this video next, and I'm gonna see you all in the next one. Cheers!